Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about X-Men 97 Season 2, or as I like to say, X-Force 97.
Because they did the one opening. There's 3 teams in this, actually.
They should have done an X-Factor opening.
They should have done
an X-Factor. And they should have done an
opening.
Acolytes of Magneto opening.
Yeah.
But anyways, before that, we've got an On Beat segment where we're going to go over some news stories, mostly related to D23, almost entirely related to D23. The only story we have in here that isn't related to D23 is Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is another Marvel property, which is owned by Disney, so it kind of like groups in with that. And then we've got a pretty long On the Horizon segment because we're just getting into that crazy pre-GTA 6 scramble for the video games. And then we've also got like a bunch of movies and stuff coming that just happen to be coming out because it's like the end of summer. But yeah, let's get started with that, with our On the Horizon segment. On the Horizon, as I said, is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so. And we're going to start things off with Batman Knightfall Part 1, Knightfall. What a name, right? Knightfall Part 1,
Knightfall. Oh, yeah.
I enjoy that movie, Fight Club Part 1, Fight Club. But anyways, Knightfall Part 1, Knightfall, we reacted to the trailer for this. This is like a really famous run from the comics in the 90s, and they're turning it into, I think it's either a 2 or 3 part animated movies, and that first one's coming out on Tuesday, August 25th, and it's going to be for purchase and rental. It's like a video on demand version of the straight to DVD thing that we used to have. Next, we've got The Simpsons Yellow Mirror. So I'm guessing that's like a Black Mirror parody.
Yeah.
There's a special coming on Wednesday, August 26th to Disney+. We previously talked about how The Simpsons is not only just doing its seasons, like its regular seasons on Fox, but it's also having like occasional specials on Disney+ now.
Yes.
And this is like one of those. Brigandine Abyss is coming on Wednesday, August 26th, 27th on consoles though, for PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. Adults, this is a new comedy. It stars Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things, among a bunch of other actors. It's a young adult comedy coming on Thursday, August 27th to FXX and Hulu. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection 2 is coming on Thursday, August 27th to PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, Switch, and Switch 2. Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, which I guess like 90% of video games now have to have Resonance somewhere in their title. That's coming on Thursday, August 27th to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Star Wars Zero Company. This is like a RTS Star Fox or like just a strategy game Star Fox? Or not Star Fox, Star Wars? Something like that. Yeah,
it's like a strategy game. It's like XCOM, apparently.
Okay. That's coming on Thursday, August 27th to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Dark Matter Season 2 is hitting Apple TV on Friday, August 28th. The Whisper Man. This is a new crime thriller that's got like a crazy cast. It's got Robert De Niro, Adam Scott, Michael Keaton, among a bunch of others. That's coming on Friday, August 28th to Netflix. Penny Lane is Dead. This is a movie. It's coming on Friday, August 28th to Shudder. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is coming to Switch 2 on Friday, August 28th. And then we've got 5 movies hitting theaters on Friday, August 28th, which is, I think, like a record for our show as far as like new theatrical releases. We've got Buddy. This is from the guy who did Too Many Cooks, the like Adult Swim. What was it, like 15, 20 minutes, something like that, like short film that was like really creepy?
Yes.
He's doing that. It's kind of like Barney the dinosaur, but like in that creepy vibe of like Too Many Cooks, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's coming Friday, August 28th to theaters. Idiots. We talked about the trailer for this. This is the one with Dave Franco and O'Shea Jackson Jr. That's coming on Friday, August 28th as well to theaters. Legend of the White Dragon is, I believe, Jason David Frank's final role. So it's basically Power Rangers, but it's just the Green Ranger, and it's not associated with the brand, I don't think.
It's not associated with the brand. This was a passion project that Jason David Frank was working on and trying to get launched. for the fans. And unfortunately, it wasn't able to do it during his lifetime, but looks like they finally made it happen.
Yeah, coming on Friday, August 28th to theaters. The Dog Stars, this is the next movie from Ridley Scott, is coming on Friday, August 28th to theaters. That's that post-apocalyptic one where there's a pilot. Piloted by Frankenstein.
Yes.
Coyote versus Acme, finally getting released on Friday, August 28th in theaters. That one, have you seen the reviews for that? It's rating very, very highly.
I have not.
Yeah, it's getting very, very good reviews, which is exciting. So I'm hearing a lot of comments like the best animation live action hybrid since Roger Rabbit, which isn't too hard of a feat, unfortunately. But we've mentioned before, you and I don't think on the show, but we've mentioned before that we need more Roger Rabbits. We need more movies akin to that. And I don't mean specifically Roger Rabbit, but that kind of live action 2D animated crossover kind of thing, but done extremely well. And I would say Roger Rabbit's probably the only movie that really fits that mold. There've been a lot that have done that style, but not really well. Coyote versus Acme seems like the next one that does that.
Oh yeah, it does it because the trailers have looked amazing. The humor is on point. Everything looks great. This looks like, regardless of how well this performs at the box office, I think this is going to be a classic that people reference for a long time.
Hopefully, and hopefully it gets a lot of success because, this was something that was being written off as a tax write-off by David Zaslav until it was saved eventually by Ketchup Entertainment. So hopefully this ends up being successful for them because I just want to put an end to this whole, let's write off movies as tax write-offs.
Oh yeah, it's real shitty.
Yeah.
Thanks crap. David Shitty Zaslav.
Yeah. If this is super successful, I'm hoping this kind of maybe puts a nail in that coffin.
Yes.
But that's it for our On the Horizon segment. And now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat. On Beat is our news segment. And our first news story, I'm getting kind of bored of talking about box office returns, but it's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks. And we have to mention that Spider-Man Brand New Day has now crossed $2 billion globally. This makes it the 8th movie ever to do it. The second fastest. The first was Endgame, which did it in 11 days. Spider-Man Brand New Day did it in 17 days.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm getting bored of box office stories, but you can't really pass on something that big.
No, it's insane. It's impressive. Congrats to Marvel. Congrats to
Tom Holland,
Sony.
Zendaya.
Congrats to Daniel Destin Cretton.
Yeah, John Barenthal.
Yeah. They found the sauce.
Yeah, and the sauce is to make $2 billion movies back to back. And now we're going to move on to D23 coverage. So we've got a few trailers to go over, but a lot of other news stories as well. We're going to start things off with Kingdom Hearts. So I'm going to start this discussion by mentioning that they announced Coco 2, which, the Pixar movie Coco.
The sequel to Coco, which...
Yeah, the Pixar movie Coco it's about Dias de la Morta? Anyway, the Day of the Dead or whatever. It's about that holiday. And it was a good Pixar movie, and they're doing a sequel, and that wasn't all the Coco goodness we got, because then they launched into a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 that started out as basically a scene from Coco, and then turned into Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, they announced the first big Disney World revealed for Kingdom Hearts 4, which the worlds are always the big reveals for Kingdom Hearts games, kind of like the fighters for Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So our first Disney World is revealed to be Coco.
Yep.
It looks gorgeous. The graphics look gorgeous.
It just looks like Coco the movie.
Yeah.
When you're watching the scene.
Yeah, when you're watching the scene, it looks like the movie. And then it shows gameplay. We fully realized the level of fidelity where we could just
the old PS2 Toy Story dream.
Yep, where we could just render Pixar-style movie graphics in real time.
Yeah. So we transition from Coco to Kingdom Hearts using Coco, and then staying on Kingdom Hearts, they announced that they're making a Kingdom Hearts series, and Nomura's directly involved.
Yes, Nomura's involved, the Square Enix is directly involved. Disney isn't just doing this by themselves. It's interesting. We'll have to see what happens. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't done this sooner.
They did do a Kingdom Hearts series. It was called Once Upon a Time.
Oh, yeah. I was totally, expecting that boy to turn out to be Sora by the end of it at some point. I was like, oh, he's gonna be Sora, and they never did that. It's okay, never mind.
But yeah, so crazy. Disney ended up talking about the fact that Kingdom Hearts is $1 billion franchise. And I was like, oh, that can't be. And then I looked at the numbers and I'm like, oh shit, it actually is.
Yeah, I think
If you say an average game is like $60 or something, like an average new game, and then you look at the number of sales for the franchise, it's like, oh yeah, it is $1 billion franchise.
Yes, easily. And then you think about all the merchandise, surrounding it. There's Kingdom Hearts merchandise too, so yeah.
Yeah, easily $1 billion franchise. That's crazy.
That's Kingdom Hearts is as big as Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. That's why it's their third pillar franchise.
So we talked about the kind of big crossover Disney franchise of Kingdom Hearts. Let's talk about Disney's oldest character.
Mickey.
Oswald.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to say they showed Mickey Mouse gameplay in Kingdom Hearts 4, which is the first time that you got to directly play as Mickey Mouse in a Kingdom Hearts game, too. So,
but this is about Oswald.
Cool. Yes. Yeah,
so they're making a 3-part series, and Jon Favreau's doing it.
Yeah, 3-part animated. Is it animated live action mix?
I'm not sure.
But yeah, it's a 3-part limited series based on Oswald the Rabbit. Yeah, like you said, Jon Favreau, okay, that's interesting. That's cool.
He's become a major Disney player because he ushered in the MCU. Kevin Feige runs the MCU, but Jon Favreau directed the first MCU movie, Iron Man.
Yeah, he directed Iron Man. Jon Favreau also directed The Lion King and the Jungle Book live-action remakes, and The Mandalorian. So yeah, he's kind of the all-around go-to guy at Disney now.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The guy that did Swingers with Vince Vaughn.
The guy that did Swingers with Vince Vaughn, yeah, is the big Disney guy.
Yeah, the big DC guy is the guy that did fucking Troma movies.
Right, yeah.
But Star Wars Starfighter. So they showed footage from this at D23, but they did not make this publicly available, unfortunately.
No, we cannot watch it. That's why it's not in the trailers.
This is the Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie that people were psyched about. That's
Sean Levy is directing.
Who's going to be doing Ghost Rider with Gosling.
Matt Smith is also in this. So is Mia Goth, apparently. Oh, Aaron Pierre is in this.
Yeah, from Lanterns.
You know him from Lanterns, yeah. So it's got an interesting cast. It's got a cast that you wouldn't expect to see in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and then I think the most fascinating thing is that they announced that this is going to be set on new planets. It's going to be in a future that's kind of the most future point in the canon.
And I'm
Star Wars. And no Skywalker story.
Thank God. I'm finally a Star Wars movie that's doing something else with the lore, with the universe, and isn't leaning into nostalgia as hard as it possibly can.
Yeah.
It's yes, people love the original trilogy. People love Luke and Leia. That's great. Do new things, please. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Do new things. And it looks like they're doing it. So yeah, I think I'm more excited for this than I have been for any Star Wars film in a long time.
You should really check out The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not a great film, but the one thing that's really cool
I'm gonna watch it when it comes out. I watched all 3 seasons. Was it 3 seasons of The Mandalorian? 3 or 4. I watched all of The Mandalorian. I didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of that. Bill.
Which is bullshit because they had an episode that ties into The Mandalorian.
I think half the season tied into The Mandalorian. It was halfway through the season, it just turned into The Mandalorian again.
But yeah, so I will watch The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, the one kind of really cool thing about The Mandalorian and Grogu is that they did a lot of stop motion practical effects, and they just look like you're watching a 1970s, 80s Star Wars movie.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So that's just a really cool aspect of it. So even if you don't like the movie itself, you'll be tickled by the little stop motion practical effects.
But yeah, Starfighter genuinely sounds interesting. I just hope
it's kind of our trial case for if we're going to be psyched for Ghost Rider, I think, too.
Right, yeah. I just think because it sounds like they're doing something different and interesting with the franchise instead of just leaning into or just playing it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Having it be about entirely new characters that have no connection to previous characters from the series. It's interesting to me.
It's a more fresh start, yeah.
Yeah, it's got an interesting cast as well.
Yeah. So, next up we got some X-Men casting. So last week we were debating covering a casting story from X-Men, and we decided not to because we knew D23 was right around the corner, and there were rumors that they were going to do the full cast reveal. So we're going to announce all the castings and announced for it, includes some that we already kind of knew about, but we're going to start off with the biggest shocker of all. Nobody saw this coming until D23. Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey. Can you fucking believe it?
What? But what are they going to do, though? She was already in Spider-Man as, like, somebody else.
I know.
I hate having the same actor and EMs play different characters.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hate that. That drives me up the wall.
Next, we got Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. We talked about this last week.
This was
2 weeks ago, I think.
We talked about, because this was confirmed by the trades 2 weeks ago. This is, I think, the only casting that was confirmed outside of Sadie Sink, obviously. This was it. The rest were, like, rumors, which got confirmed at D23, by the way.
And then the one we were going to talk about last week, but we decided not to because we figured D23 was going to have a lot more of this stuff, and we just said we'd wait, is Kit Connor, who's playing Cyclops / Scott Summers. I'm really unfamiliar with him as an actor, but man, the guy is jacked.
I'm unfamiliar with several of these people as actors.
Yeah.
Kit Connor, I don't know. Indy Navarrete, I really only know because she was in Obsession. I just watched that movie.
Man, the internet is having a fucking aneurysm about her as Rogue, though. I don't know why.
They wanted her as Mystique, apparently. Okay, well, she's not going to be Mystique. Deal with it.
I like her better as Rogue. I think she's got like a flirtatious edge to her that fits Rogue.
Right, yeah. I think she'll do a great Rogue. I don't know.
Maya Boyd is playing Storm. I think she's just mostly done Broadway type stuff.
Yeah, I looked her up. For what I understand, she is a stage actress.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know her acting. I think if you're acting for the stage, that takes an incredible amount of talent.
Storm's a pretty theatrical character, too.
So, like, I don't doubt that she's talented. She looks great.
I said, Storm's a pretty theatrical character. Watching X-Men 97 is reminding me how theatrical Storm is.
Here's interesting. I don't think this has been confirmed, but I believe it. Apparently, Ryan Coogler was involved in the casting process for Storm.
There was heavy rumors about that, and also I think Black Panther 3 is coming after X-Men, if I'm not mistaken. And that's kind of weird because the big rumor was that Storm was going to debut in Black Panther 3 and then carry into X-Men, but now it looks like X-Men's coming first. So I'm not exactly sure how they're playing that out. Maybe Storm's got a very small role in the first X-Men.
Right. Who knows? I don't know. But she's been announced, and Ryan Coogler is the kind of director I could see him turning to stage actresses and stuff for that. He is, and
like I said, she's a very theatrical character.
Yes.
So it fits. Stage actors have a reputation for being a bit over the top, like kind of almost to a cheesy extent or something, you know? So when the stage actor goes to like a movie, it's always a little bit concerning, like, are they going to go like way over the top? Because you kind of have to do that when you're a stage actor. But like, that's Storm. That Storm is a very over the top character. So that like, it's like perfectly fitting for that. So I think that's kind of like the most interesting thing about that casting to me, just because I don't know any of her work.
Yep. And then Chris Abbott as Professor X Charles Xavier. I don't know this person.
Yeah, I don't see it in him when I see pictures of him. Like, I just don't see it.
Right.
But I'm interested.
But then
it's
again,
the first American actor playing Professor X in live action.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. You're right. But then again, you might have pegged James McAvoy as Professor X either. So
yeah. It's weird just because Patrick Stewart was such obvious casting.
Yes. Patrick Stewart, he played Jean-Luc Picard, so he played this very kind, gentle, but very authoritative leader. Captain Jean-Luc Picard has, like, all of the Professor X qualities, and then, like, he looks like him physically.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, that was the obvious fan casting to go to.
I just have no frame of reference. Apparently he's a very well-respected actor. I just haven't seen him in anything. Like, I don't know him from anything. So I'm really curious what they're gonna do. It's also interesting when you see an actor who is not bald, and you're like, are they going to go bald with him? Or are they gonna do what they did with McAfee, where they didn't go bald and then later went bald? What are they going to do with that? Because it's just kind of interesting. I'm really interested to see where they go with this. They did not announce a Magneto. Before we get to the last casting, they did not announce a Magneto. It doesn't seem that that's going to be the focus of the first season. I think that might be for the best, just because
I think they're holding...
that's been such a part of the X-Men story in live action through every movie, has been like the relationship between Charles and Magneto, and it might be better to just hold that off for another time, you know?
Yeah, like Magneto could be waiting in the wings. Similar here, they they did not cast a Wolverine. There's no Wolverine because, spoiler alert, it's still going to be Hugh Jackman.
Until he's 90?
Until he's 90. Hugh Jackman will be in this movie as Wolverine.
I want a new Wolverine, but I also don't want him to come into the first movie.
Right.
I think it's interesting. They gotta keep the cast down. They gotta keep it smaller, I think.
It's interesting that they're doing this without Wolverine because Wolverine is the most popular character, right? He's
he's in the top 5 comic book characters of all time, I think.
Yeah, if you ask 10 people to name an X-Men, Wolverine's probably the first name to pop out of people's mouths.
Well, I would say if you asked a bunch of people to name just comic book characters, period, the first 4 that would be mentioned are Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, and Wolverine.
Yeah. So doing the X-Men movie without Wolverine is actually kind of ballsy. And I respect it because it means they're confident enough with what they have that they're not worried about having Wolverine.
Hoping we don't get too many other major mutant characters in this movie and that instead we start to kind of introduce them throughout the MCU in other projects here and there. Storm's an example. I'm kind of hoping her role is tiny in this movie and that she kind of makes more of a debut in Black Panther 3. I think that's kind of more interesting.
Storm's role being tiny is problematic because she's literally field leader for the X-Men.
Well, yeah, but I kind of hope that this is before that. And that maybe they introduce her more fully in Black Panther, and then she kind of becomes a bigger part. It's the same thing with Wolverine. Wolverine's a huge character in the X-Men. I think I'd prefer him to be introduced in a non-X-Men movie, and then work into the X-Men.
They should do it like they did in the comics. Introduce him in the Incredible Hulk movie. Oh wait, that's never going to exist.
They'll introduce him in a Wolverine movie that will be a Hulk movie. They'll just call it a Wolverine movie.
Right, yeah, exactly. They'll just keep doing stealth Hulk movies under different characters.
They'll call it Planet Wolverine.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what my hope is, that they do that kind of stuff. You have these characters, these big characters and stuff to introduce them. Don't just throw them into the next X-Men movie, this X-Men movie or the next one or whatever. Just start having them pop up throughout the MCU,
Yeah.
And then kind of come into the fold. So, between X-Men 1 and X-Men 2, introduce 6 X-Men characters, but do it through other movies. And then they come into the fold in X-Men 2.
If you want to integrate the X-Men into the MCU, they gotta feel like a part of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
And not just through references to the wider MCU in their own movie, but also for them showing up. Sadie Sink, Jean Grey being in Spider-Man. Spoilers, sorry everybody. I trust you've been spoiled on this already.
They officially announced her as that character now, so it's there's no more pussy.
There's no more, we're talking about the casting. Sadie Sink debuting in Spider-Man, that links Spider-Man to the X-Men now.
I can't wait for you to see it so we can discuss it, because there's a lot of conversation. Some people really did not like, I think everybody liked her, but some people really didn't like the way they did certain things with her. And I think that's going to be a really interesting topic, because personally, I think it's just about the best possible setup for X-Men that they could do, is the way they brought in Jean Grey and Spider-Man.
So I don't want them treating the X-Men like they treated the Eternals, where the Eternals only exist in their own movie, and that's it.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they keep it down to just a small number of characters, and then they just the mutant aspect of the MCU just explodes after that.
Yes.
And then it's in everything. Every movie's got mutants in it. And then we get to X-Men 2, and all those mutants kind of pulling together, almost like an Avengers movie. It's bring all those fucking X-Men together,
Well, I just think it just makes the world feel more connected.
It
makes it feel more connected to the universe.
Yeah. Honestly, that's some of my favorite stuff in the MCU is post-Avengers, where they would have characters that just kind of pop up in other characters' movies,
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. They're like, oh, why do you need that? This just means you have homework for everything. It's no, I've said this before and I'll say it again. To me, the MCU is a giant TV show.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. But the last casting is the villain of the movie, apparently. And that is Adam Driver. He's definitely playing a villain, but I don't know if he's the villain of the movie. Who knows what Marvel's gonna do. But it seems to be. And that's Adam Driver, who was initially rumored for Magneto, but it turns out he's actually playing Mr. Sinister / Nathaniel Milbury.
Yes. which Mr. Sinister is one
He's
of the
been teased for the live-action X-Men movies forever and never happened.
Oh yeah, but he's one of the biggest, most major X-Men villains that they never did in a live-action film, surprisingly. And
to me, the exciting thing about this is the fact that they're introducing him in the first X-Men movie means they're really going into, like, the Cyclops Jean Grey storyline in a way that they never properly did.
Yes, which I love. And there's no Wolverine, apparently, to do the love triangle thing. Yeah. And also, the reason I think they're doing Mr. Sinister for a first movie is I think like they really looked at it and they're like, we want to do a story that they haven't told in the other films. So we want to do a villain that they haven't already did. We don't want to redo Apocalypse. We don't want to redo Magneto.
And that's been like an MCU thing in general. I mean, look at like Spider-Man. Spider-Man started with Vulture.
Yeah, Spider-Man did start with the Green Goblin again. In fact, technically, we still don't have the Green Goblin in Spider-Man. You know,
we just had an alternate universe Green Goblin. We didn't have an actual one.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have this Peter's Green Goblin yet.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. I'm really happy about that. Like I said, I can't wait till you see Spider-Man so that we can kind of discuss, because I think there's a big part of the conversation about Spider-Man is going to be where they're taking X-Men.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
So we got several trailers kind of popped up in D23. Some of them were not available to us. Some of them were, like I mentioned, Star Wars Starfighter, not available to us. But we got to see the first trailer for Vision Quest and the second trailer for Avengers Doomsday, which I guess they labeled as a special look instead of a trailer. The Avengers Doomsday tour was what was shown at Comic-Con. It's just now it's been released publicly. Vision Quest to me is the one that I like the most. Of everything that was shown at D23.
It looks fun.
Vision Quest, the trailer for it, just like as a standalone trailer, like not factoring in all of the outside excitement for like X-Men and other stuff like that. Just going on what was actually shown there. Vision Quest, I think, was the coolest thing at D23 in my opinion.
Yeah, Vision Quest was a delightful surprise. I didn't really know what to think about this before the trailer. I really liked the idea of it's exploring the relationship that Vision has with his family, and mainly his father, Ultron, who takes a delightful human form as James Spader.
Yeah, James Spader's great, man. James Spader is so awesome, so it's great to see him again. He hasn't really been around in much for a while since, like, The Blacklist.
Call me Papa, Peepaw.
It's a boy, Mazel Tov, yeah.
Yeah, because this is the third part of a trilogy that started with WandaVision and continued into Agatha all along as going to this, and this is really a story about WandaVision, their family. And so, while Agatha all along focused on Wiccan, this is going to feature Billy Maximoff, who Vision finds out is still around.
Yeah, we got like a little hint of him at the end of Agatha All Along.
Yes.
That he's like in a body now, and then Agatha and Tommy took off
to look for him.
And now we got Vision's going to be kind of involved in this. We don't have any idea if Agatha and Tommy are going to show up in this as well. They're not referenced at all.
No.
But I fucking loved WandaVision. I still think it's one of my favorite things in the MCU as a whole, not just the shows. And Agatha All Along was like a surprising delight in my opinion. I thought it had some really powerful, great episodes.
I thought it had like some good stuff. It was uneven overall. I enjoyed it.
It had some incredibly high highs in my opinion.
Yes.
The whole backstory about her and her son was amazing.
Yes,
like television.
I love that backstory.
Yeah. So I am super psyched for Vision Quest. I've been psyched for it just because I'm such a huge fan of WandaVision and Agatha All Along. But I was nervous because it's not the same showrunner that did both of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
But just watching this trailer, I'm like, okay, they kind of got the same tone though.
Right,
like,
yeah, they got the tone down.
It really does feel like it's part of that. And that's like the most important thing to me. So I'm so psyched for Vision Quest. That's like, I'm so psyched for it.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also psyched for Doomsday.
Really? I didn't know anybody was interested in that.
I can't wait for Doom.
I thought when I bought my theater ticket months in advance that, maybe I was just crazy.
This is mostly voiceovers, to be honest. But it does like...
some great acting from Pedro Pascal,
it has some great acting. Oh, yeah. It's clear...
You do this, Victor!
Make it very clear in this trailer that the Fantastic Four already have a relationship with this Doom. even though they didn't reference it or mention it in the movie or anything, that they knew anybody named Victor Von Doom or anything. Like
he did have a cameo in the post-credits scene.
But there's no indication that they knew him or knew who he was.
Actually, there were 2 references to Doom in the Fantastic Four, because there was that, and there was also a shot when they showed, I think it was like the United Nations or something, and they showed an empty chair for, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, Latveria. Yeah. So they had kind of 2 big Doom references in that movie.
But yeah, like Doomsday makes it very clear that these people know him.
Yeah.
And nobody else does. And also, Robert Downey Jr., I don't know, he's got that voice down. It gave me chills at the end when he's fighting Thor and he says, "Hell bows to Doom.
Hell answers to me, for I am Doom."
Yeah. Said with such theatrical, such gravitas. Just appropriate. It's like, that's Dr. Doom.
We need a Dr. Doom Storm team up.
I was like,
where they're just going over the top theatrical.
When he said that, and he did that, I was like, that's Dr. Doom. Hollywood, that's Dr. Doom. It's not whatever the fuck you were trying to do with the character in, like, that Fantastic Four movie. It's not Julian Sands in the other Fantastic Four movies. This is it. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was just saying, they should do a team up movie with Doom and Storm.
Yes,
and they're just overacting the entire movie.
Just overacting the entire, yeah.
He's all, I am Doom, and she's like, and I am the Queen of Weather.
It's funny because in the comics there was a storyline where Doom was going to marry Storm.
Can you imagine that wedding? Like how diva? Yeah. I mean, the 2 biggest divas in Marvel.
Yeah, the 2 divas in Marvel. Yeah.
That's pretty much it for the Doomsday trailer. Like I said, I think the best scene in the trailer, as far as like the acting, was like Pedro Pascal being like, "Victor, did you do this?"
Oh yeah, Pedro Pascal definitely using those acting chops.
Yeah, and then we got the Sentinels at the end.
Yep, we saw Doom like reviving the Sentinels.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Eager for this movie, which I mentioned somewhere else. Somebody was talking about like, oh, this movie's also gonna 100% make $2 billion this year. And I'm like, well, it'll make $2 billion, but probably not this year, because it's literally gonna have 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, to make $2 billion this year.
It'll make $2 billion.
It'll make $2 billion next year.
Yes. And it'll be the 9th movie to cross $2 billion.
Yep. I don't think anything else is coming out before that's gonna do that.
Nope.
We got a Robert Eggers movie coming out at the end of the year too, but those movies never make any money.
Oh, have some faith. Werewolf will definitely be a $2 billion film.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
That's it for our news segment, and now we're going to move on to full spoilers. And we're keeping it with X-Men. We just had a lot of conversation about X-Men, so why not keep with it? We're going to talk about X-Men 97, Season 2. A little bit of controversy before this season even started, because the showrunner of Season 1, Bo DeMeo, was fired and replaced as another head writer. But apparently, like, it's hard to tell where the takeover is, because he was, I guess, involved in the writing through the entirety of Season 2, and only wasn't involved in some of the rewrites that happened.
I'm going to be honest, I don't care about any of this. None of this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the show itself. Lots
of characters to go over, lots of stuff. We broke it down by kind of like settings, I guess, or set events that happen throughout.
There's events. So it's interesting the way these are broken down is that there is an overarching storyline for the season, but it also like they pepper it with episodic episodes too. I'm looking at the episodes now to refresh my memory. The first episode season is the big setup for the story and the current main antagonist. The second episode is quasi self-contained. It still like involves what's going on in the first episode, but then introduces this other storyline. Third episode continues the main storyline from a different perspective. Fourth episode, main storyline. And then you got the fifth episode, self-contained. Sixth episode, self-contained. Seventh episode, self-contained. Eighth episode, main storyline. 10th episode, ninth episode, main storyline.
Yeah. So we broke it down into kind of 6 topics that we're going to go over, basically. We're going to start with future apocalypse. So at the end of season 1 of X-Men 97, the X-Men were like divided up and sent to different times. A few remained in the regular present time, but none of the big players. There's like, Jubilee and Sunspot and, Polarity.
Like all the big players.
Smaller players.
Ended up in
either the future or the past.
In the future or the past. Turns out this was deliberate by this woman in the future who pulled the X-Men through time. Mother Ascani, thank you for that name. Who pulled the X-Men into the future and the past to stop Apocalypse for good. Mm-hmm. One attempt to do it in the future, the other attempt to do it in the past when Apocalypse is just starting.
Yeah. And so we're going to start off with Future Apocalypse. This is a lot of what was kind of being played into in the last season with like Cable's story, which is like a very famous X-Men story about, Cable is the son of Jean Grey and Cyclops.
Yeah, he gets sent to the future, which happened in season 1.
He's raised in a terrible post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah, he's raised in a post-apocalyptic future where Apocalypse rules, and he's raised by Mother Ascani with the concept that, like, he is the one to destroy Apocalypse forever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's his goal.
His fate.
Yeah, his fate. Yeah. That's handed down to him.
And so in the future, we got Cyclops and Jean Grey, so we got Cable's parents showing up in the future. We've also got Wolverine.
Yep, we got Wolverine.
Professor,
Beast.
And Magneto. And Beast.
No, Professor and Magneto in the past.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, it's just Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine.
And they're joined, I believe, by either Bishop or Forge.
Yeah, it's Bishop in the future, Forge in the past.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so the future story, a lot of it is basically about the familial relationship between Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Cable, or Nathan. It's about them regretting the fact that they had to send him to the future into like this horrible fate, them wanting to now be his parents, but that's not going to work out, and about Cable having to eventually embrace his fate and become who he ends up becoming, which is to lead a rather unhappy life, basically.
Yeah, the future team is Cyclops, Jean Grey, Morph, Storm, and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like the main focus of the future story. They end up, I think, kind of taking out Apocalypse, I think, but not really.
Not really, no. I mean, spoiler alert, Apocalypse doesn't get taken out in either of these four opening episodes, I should say.
Neither of these two settings.
Yeah. Yeah, neither of these two settings. So the second setting is ancient Egypt, when Apocalypse is the first mutant to exist. He is born in ancient Egypt. This is before he becomes Apocalypse. He's on his rise. He is fighting.
He's a former slave. He's got like the Spartacus story.
Yeah, he's fighting a fight of freedom against a tyrannical Pharaoh, who funny
turns out to be somebody else.
Yeah, a Pharaoh who turns out to, funny enough, be Kang.
Yep.
This is
Jonathan Majors. No.
It's actually the guy who played Q on Star Trek, John Delancey. Plays Kang in this.
Is he also being canceled?
As far as I know, maybe that's going to happen soon. Now, yeah, John Delancey playing Kang, which is a wonderful cameo. Kang fucks off at the end of the storyline. He never comes back. Once
Apocalypse kind of becomes Apocalypse, Kang's like, well, I'm out.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Like
he's all peace, bitches.
Yeah, peace, bitches, yeah. He never comes back into play again. Maybe he will in a future season, but not today. But yeah, the central conflict in the past is basically there's a debate between Magneto and Professor X over whether they can stop Apocalypse's rise by reforming him and making him essentially sympathetic to the X-Men's cause.
And it's opposite day.
Yeah, it's opposite day, yeah.
Because Magneto's like, let's reform him. And Professor X is like, we just gotta kill the fucker.
Yeah, he can't be saved. So that's the major disagreement.
Yeah.
And they try and it seems like it's working, and then it gets to the end and it turns out, no. Apocalypse is on that path.
Yeah. He feels betrayed once he gets all the information.
Yeah.
He's pissed off and angry at Magneto, and he's just like, you guys betrayed me, you tried to manipulate me, and now I'm gonna become Apocalypse and destroy everything, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what he does. And he kills Magneto.
Yes. Right in front of Professor X, and then taunts Professor X about it, who's crawling on the ground because he's Professor X. He's paralyzed from the waist down.
He deliberately leaves Professor X alive And then we bring our focus back onto the present, where...
It's funny that they had, throughout the future storyline and the past storyline, they'd frequently have characters say, we need to bring the X-Men to the 90s.
Yeah, which is like kind of weird, because...
A little meta.
Yeah, it's a little meta. You don't say that. If we were in the past, if you and me were in the past, it's something we wouldn't say we got to get back to the 2020s. We would say we got to get back to the present.
Yeah, or just we got to get back, you know?
Yeah, we got to get back to where we're from.
We got to go back, Kate.
Yeah, we wouldn't say, oh, the 90s. Yeah, that's just some weird meta dialogue, whatever. Didn't bother me too much.
I thought it was funny, actually. I thought it was funny. This show can be a little cheesy. It definitely feels, I mean, it is a direct continuation of the original X-Men cartoon from the 90s, but it definitely feels like that too. Like they nailed the tone, and that was something we talked about with the first season. And so like the cheesiness of going, we need to get back to the 90s. This is kind of like meta joke. It works because that's the established tone of the show.
Yes. Fun fact, John Delancey isn't the only Star Trek veteran to be cast in these episodes. John Delancey is Kang in the past episodes, but in the future storyline...
And William Shatner's Jubilee, yeah.
Gates McFadden is Rachel Summers' mother Ascani.
So William Shatner's not Jubilee?
No. Getting to Jubilee, actually, the next storyline, we're introduced to X-Force and X-Factor. Apparently with the X-Men displaced in time, X-Factor was created as a government-sponsored mutant team who are rounding up mutants.
By Dr. Valerie Cooper, who was in the last season.
Purportedly to save them.
Yeah, but they're imprisoning them.
They're imprisoning them.
Yeah.
And X-Force is formed by Cable to basically hunt down Apocalypse.
Let's talk about the lineups here.
Yeah.
X-Factor was formed by Dr. Valerie Cooper, who was in the last season. Havoc is kind of the leader of the group. Polaris, who was an X-Men, one of Magneto's daughters, ends up joining X-Factor.
Havoc is actually Cyclops' brother, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's not mentioned in the show, but yeah, Havoc.
That's the character in First Class, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. So, Polaris, Multiple Man, Strong Guy, and Wolfsbane.
Yeah.
That's X-Factor. X-Force is Cable, Psylocke, Archangel, Jubilee, and Sunspot.
Yep. Jubilee and Sunspot are recruited by Cable in this episode.
Yeah, X-Force is really just Cable, Psylocke, and Archangel, because Jubilee and Sunspot are kind of like flapping between X-Force and X-Men.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, X-Force and X-Factor come to blows, come across each other, but like X-Force isn't really there to stop what X-Factor's doing. The X-Force is like hyper-focused on we gotta find and kill Apocalypse. And they find like one of Apocalypse's horsemen, which is really interesting because like...
It's war. They find war.
The horsemen don't really play a role in this season. Despite the fact that it's about Apocalypse, we only get war, and then later we get like we get death later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they interrogate Ward. They do kill him. Yeah. And then Jubilee is like, okay, well, you better not do that ever again.
And then Cable, like, turned around and shot some random kid in the face.
Yeah.
She said, you better not do that a third time. And then he, like, aimed his gun at, like, a kitten and killed it.
And she's like, I'm still not leaving this team, although I disagree with it on a very fundamental level.
And then he chucked a hand grenade into an elementary school.
Yeah. So that's basically that. And then from there, we get into, like, the more episodic episodes. We get a fun episode with...
Getting the team back together. Weapon X, baby.
Yeah, a fun episode with Weapon X, where we got Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, Maverick, and Kane, and Wolverine, and Morph investigating a Weapon X facility that turns out to be overrun by the alien brood. Wolverine temporarily becomes a brood. Omega Red shows up. It is an extravaganza and is a very fun episode. Obviously, they save Wolverine. They stop the brood.
They did a little lore drop with Sabretooth.
Yep, little lore drop with Sabretooth. They mentioned Sabretooth's son, which comes into play not long after.
Yeah.
That episode. It's a fun episode. The Brood are a fun villain. They're obviously like a rip-off of the Aliens. John Byrne like really ripped off Aliens with the Brood, but that's fine.
Wolverine just straight up like tricked his whole team.
Yes.
Including
Morph. He was there to get his adamantium back. And he does. You knew he wasn't going to go long without it. Speaking of Sabretooth's son, we get the Acolytes of Magneto, the episode about the Acolytes of Magneto.
Yeah, and first character we're introduced from the Acolytes of Magneto, Colossus.
It's Colossus, yeah. We actually see like a flashback to Krakoa. We see Colossus and his sister Magic. Magic has gotten more popular recently thanks to Marvel Rivals.
You know what's funny is that they made Magic in this one look exactly like Anna Taylor-Joy.
I noticed that, yeah.
And, Anna Taylor-Joy played that character in New Mutants, which was like a huge failure. It almost didn't get released.
Which is interesting.
But Anna Taylor-Joy's got a look.
Yeah, she's got a look. Maybe if they do Magic in the new movie, she'll get a second chance.
She might be too old now for that,
True.
based on how they're casting.
But yeah, Colossus is a part of this team. There's some other people.
Nobody really worth mentioning except Colossus and then the leader Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus. Exodus is, again, another, big X-Men villain.
Mm-hmm.
He worships Magneto, but, he worships Magneto because of Magneto's negative qualities.
Yeah.
So yeah, they come to blows. This one centers around Graydon Creed, who is Sabretooth's son, who happens to be the son of both Sabretooth and Mystique, but he is a human.
And the half-brother.
Yeah, half-brother of Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Because Nightcrawler is Mystique's son as well, although Nightcrawler is not related to Sabretooth.
No.
Interesting family tree.
Yeah.
And this explores the relationship between Nightcrawler and Creed, where basically everybody agrees that Creed is a scumbag, but Nightcrawler tries to save him.
You know what? X-Men has always had, really complicated family dynamics. And I don't mean, found family dynamics. I mean, literal family dynamics. We said Nightcrawler is the son of Mystique, Stuff like that. Graydon Creed is the son of Sabretooth and Mystique. We got Cable being the child of Jean Grey and Cyclops. There's so much family stuff.
Yeah.
And Magneto's children, his various children,
We got Polaris in this, who's the daughter of Magneto.
Yeah, that stuff has never been handled in live action X-Men.
You're right, yeah. It hasn't really been touched upon much at all.
None of it. No family connections. The closest thing they did to covering that was there was a X-Men related TV show on Fox. I can't remember what it was called, but it had Polaris was one of the characters in it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And they made references. They made very brief references, not directly, but hinted at Magneto. And they also had other family dynamic that was happening unrelated to that, But other than that, they haven't really ever touched on all the complex families that are in X-Men. That's a huge part of X-Men.
Well, I was gonna say this is a fun episode because it really focuses in on the character of Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler's an interesting character because he is one of those characters in Marvel who is deeply religious. He's deeply Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he preaches this idea of redemption. Even somebody like Graydon Creed can be redeemed,
Mm-hmm.
And so he convinces Exodus to set up this trial. And then Nightcrawler makes this really compelling case for Creed, explaining why he is the way he is. Because they make Colossus the judge. And as soon as Colossus is ready to hand down a verdict, Exodus, loses his shit and just, goes after Colossus and, everything goes to shit.
Yeah, turns into a big brawl. It ends up with Exodus being killed by Graydon Creed.
Yes.
So, the twist, the guy that wanted to kill the other guy gets killed by the other guy.
Gets killed by the other guy, yeah.
And then Nightcrawler just basically drops Graydon Creed by himself in the Arctic or something.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just fuck you, brother, and just leaves him in the Arctic. He gets recovered. He's alive.
He gets recovered, yeah, because it's revealed at the end of the season, I think, that, he becomes president, so...
Not far off from reality.
Yeah, right, yeah, not far off from reality at all. And then we got another small standalone episode that was about the Danger Room becoming a robot and attacking them.
Yeah, this was in the comics too, I believe.
Yes.
There was a story where the character is literally called Danger.
Yeah, the character is literally called Danger, and it's the personification of the Danger Room. And it's a fun episode.
Polarity ends up handling that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Polaris, yeah.
Polaris, also kind of fucks up and frees Danger, but then also ends up being the one to kind of close the chapter on it.
Yeah, closes the chapter on it. Yeah, it's really an episode about Polaris dealing with her complicated feelings about everything.
Mm-hmm. As Magneto's daughter, yeah.
As Magneto's daughter, and joining the X-Men again for the first time after being with X-Factor, all that. Now we're into the finale, the conclusion
Now we're
to
in
the
the end
Apocalypse
game.
storyline. Yeah. Where Apocalypse creates his newest horseman, Death, who turns out to be Gambit.
Yes. He resurrects Gambit as his horseman Death. Gambit goes around trying to woo Rogue.
Yep, woo Rogue.
He
and
goes,
gets some of his
gathers
former
his family.
associates. Yeah, his family.
Kind of turns them all. He kills Apocalypse's old love interest and steals the device or whatever that makes her immortal.
Yeah.
Gives it to Rogue so that she can live with him for... It's
And
also interesting, there was a part where Rogue was talking to Apocalypse and she said something about like, I hope for everybody's sake that you can experience what love is or something. And then it's interesting that Apocalypse basically takes over Gambit and starts immediately trying to romance Rogue.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, romance is what I need? Okay, well, then I'll have it with you.
Because they find the corpse of Apocalypse, too, suggesting Gambit
with like
killed
a burnt
him.
playing card, yeah.
With the burnt playing card, but the twist is Apocalypse abandoned his body and is attempting to take control of Gambit's.
Yeah, and so Gambit is working as the Horseman Death, but secretly he's also just Apocalypse in his body.
Yes. And so there's this whole thing where the X-Men are trying to save Gambit, save his soul, especially Rogue, but X-Force, Cable and X-Factor join forces to stop the X-Men, and Cable especially is just, well, I gotta kill Apocalypse, that's my purpose, even if I have to kill Gambit to do it, I'm going to. That puts him at odds with the X-Men and puts him at odds with his parents.
He shoots Gambit in the head.
Yeah.
And then Cyclops says, "Did you do this, Victor?"
Because his name's suddenly Victor now.
Yes. And Cyclops is suddenly played by Pedro Pascal.
Rogue actually goes to the Celestial Shrine where Apocalypse was created. Apocalypse was created by a Celestial. She goes and she talks to Celestial, and she agrees to give up her life to save Gambit's, and she gets Celestial power. Which, after Gambit is shot by Cable, then Apocalypse fully takes over Gambit's body. Gambit is resurrected as Apocalypse and starts his reign of terror until Celestial-powered Rogue gets there and stops Apocalypse for good.
Gampocalypse, we'll call him.
Just expels Apocalypse from Gambit's body, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if she fully kills Apocalypse. You can never be sure with these things.
Apocalypse has now found his strongest host, Jubilee.
Yes, she's reunited with Gambit.
Yeah, and she thinks she's going to die because
she's confused because she does not die.
Yeah.
And then Beast shows up, and it's only Beast. And he's looking sad.
Sad
Beast. And we find out that because Nightcrawler was with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we find out Nightcrawler, after they left, he went in there and he made a deal with the Celestial to give his life for Rogue's.
Yeah. Rogue, by the way, also a sibling of Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
So he saved his sister and gave them a chance to be together. There was a cute part earlier in the show, I think it was around the time of the trial episode, where they were showing Genosha before everything happened in season 1. And it was showing kind of like this cute reaction. It was like Rogue and Gambit kind of having like a romantic thing, and Nightcrawler was kind of interrupting in a cute way. And then that kind of like, it all kind of comes full circle at the ending with Nightcrawler dying so that the two of them can live together, because it was Gambit died for Rogue in season 1, and then Rogue died set herself up to die for Gambit in season 2, and Nightcrawler said no.
Yeah.
I'll die for both of you.
It would have been disappointing if they just had Rogue die for Gambit, like after they had Gambit die for Rogue in the first season. That'd be like, we're running in circles.
But that's it for season 2 of X-Men 97. We already mentioned that Braden Creed became president.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what we didn't mention? Is that Mystique showed up. We talked about several.
Yeah, there was the teaser at the end with Mystique. Yeah, who replaces the woman leading X-Factor.
Dr. Valerie Cooper.
Yes.
She apparently kills her and takes over.
Yes, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. That's our lead into season 3. We got kind of the worst president possible for the X-Men, and then we've got Mystique in the guise of the leader of X-Factor.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's it for X-Men 97 Season 2. What are your overall thoughts?
I enjoyed it. Highly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Season 3 is when we're really going to find out who set the tone for the show.
Yeah, we'll know then.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say for now.
Yep. Next week, we're going to be doing an Advocates of Great Entertainment segment because it'll be our 250th episode of OnScreen. So we do these like every 50 episodes or every 25 or 50 episodes or whatever. We'll do like a special episode where we pick something. We've done it before. We picked like an episode of a TV show or something. And we usually have like some kind of a topic. And so we decided this week that our topic is going to be the first feature film from a great director. So we each picked one. My pick is The Witch by Robert Eggers. That was his first film. We mentioned Anya Taylor-Joy. She's in that. That was his first film. He went on to do like The Lighthouse, The Northman, Nosferatu. He's got Werewolf coming out this year, but his first movie was The Witch. And that's available to stream on Netflix. Will, tell us about your pick.
My pick is Blood Simple. It's the first movie by the Coen brothers. I'd never seen it. I don't know too much about it. Other than, like, it's their first movie. I love the Coen brothers. I had some other picks, but they weren't available on streaming, so I'm going with this.
Yeah. We had another one lined up for Will, and then it just didn't work out. The streaming gods were not smiling upon him.
Nope.
But hey, Coen brothers are also great directors, so there you go. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. So if you want to follow that conversation, The Witch is on Netflix and Blood Simple is on HBO Max. So watch those two movies and then join in on our conversation next week when we'll be talking about the two of them. One last sad detail to go into before we close out the show is that we found out that Hayden Panettiere passed away, apparently, seemingly, not completely yet confirmed, about a drug overdose.
It's just a tragic situation, yeah.
Very young. It also made more tragic. I saw some photos of like her and I can't even think of her name right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's tragic.
Dawn from Buffy.
Yeah, she was a great actress. Rest in peace.
Yeah, she was the cheerleader in Heroes, an iconic character that everybody remembers. Save the cheerleader, save the world. But gone too soon in her 30s. Very sad. That's it for our show. So thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on those platforms. He is at Voxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. If you go to our website and open up a container store for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all the relevant links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all that stuff's there. You can also subscribe to our podcast through your favorite podcast client of choice like Apple Podcast or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of our podcast, as well as our old podcast, The Weekly Set, which we did 300 episodes of, are all available on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. Until next week, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen Podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.